Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Raymond Flotat from MXDWN.com. That's Mixdown. Yes, once again, we're at Summer Game Fest Playdays, and the madness is literally all around us. I am so pleased to be joined here right now by Will from Supermassive. Will, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing?
Can't complain. Has it been really intense for you for weeks or what?
No, it's been intense, and it's intense now. It's a busy weekend, so yeah. But yeah, we're super happy to be here to show the game to real players. So yeah.
I mean, on some level, it has to be a nice change of pace because building a game is hard, no matter what game you're building, to actually be able to sit here and go, this is what we're doing, here's how it works, right?
Yeah, it's one of the best things. It's great because, in the office we're heads down at the moment. We're really, in the thick of it. So to step away, to give the controller to other people and to see them, see what we've made is the best thing.
So you said something in our brief conversation a moment ago as we were trying it. We're having a little time with it. You mentioned the movie Event Horizon, and I am an enormous dork for that movie. Still my favorite horror movie, not just sci-fi horror, my favorite horror movie ever. And of course, Directive 8020, which we're here to talk about, is its own measure of a sci-fi horror game. I don't know if I'd want to go so far as to call it survival horror, but it is its own deep space, emptiness, hide and survive type thing.
Yeah, no, we like to call it a narrative survival horror. So it's a cinematic experience, it's a branching story, but it also has moments where you live or die by your own controls, by your own hand. So yeah, we have moments in this game where you will go up against real-time threats. You'll be facing the monster itself. You'll have to hide, make sure it doesn't hear you, make sure it doesn't see your flashlight, because if it does, it will chase you down and kill you. So that's new for us, but yeah, and so we've had a lot of fun building that monster.
No, the little time we had, the monsters were intelligent to a point. I don't want to call them super intelligent. And so what I wonder is, as the game progresses, do we get to an alien isolation level where, to what I mean is, to the point that the monster will relentlessly chase you for not just for a couple minutes and then get confused, but will it end up going a whole level, a whole sequence for a very long time?
Yeah, we do have the bit that you saw today is just kind of like the introduction to that threat. That threat gets bigger and badder, so there's moments where you will. One of the fun things we do in this game is we give you a few tools to use. So we didn't really see it so much in this demo here, but you have a scanner that lets you kind of scan the environment around you, and you can use that scanner to activate electronics. And so you reach situations in the game where you're facing one of these creatures, because there's not just one, there's a whole bunch of them. You'll be facing one of these creatures and you'll have to use the tools at your disposal in order to get past it. So that's one of the challenges we have, is that as a player you can't just sneak past this. You're going to have to find a way to distract it using that screen and rewire these electronics over here in order to open that door and stuff. So yeah, there's the threat layers as you go through.
It almost feels like, to me, and not to draw comparisons, I'm not saying this is any inspiration to this, but it feels like a more thoughtful Doom 3. Doom 3, they tried very hard to make it be quiet, darkness, difficult, but then of course giant, crazy knockdown fights. This doesn't feel like, upon those moments, this is a giant first-person shooter smackdown moment if you hit one of those bigger monsters in this part. It feels like it's still a more thoughtful survive experience even then.
Yeah, no, we're very much focused on stealth. You're trying to kind of, you cannot face this creature hand to hand, so you're trying to evade it, trying to kind of get around it. But we're also really focused on fear. So we're trying to build atmosphere, get pace, really get that feeling of kind of creeping around a monster. Also importantly, we're not a sort of high skill game. We want our game to be as accessible as we can to everyone. So you can tailor the difficulty through the settings to kind of however hard you want it to be.
Yeah. Now, I mean, to go in a different direction in terms of stealth, right? Metal Gear Solid was famous for having moments where you could be hiding against a little ledge and then a pipe would fall over, and then that would tip the enemies that were there. Does it get to that level where if you're not that careful, a little thing like that could screw you over?
We do have a few. There's a few surprises in there. Absolutely, yeah. There's moments where you're like, oh no, I didn't realize that was going to happen. One of the things that we do in our game is the creature. It's this organic life form that can emerge from this kind of goo that's all over the ship, and when it emerges, it can then go back into the goo and appear somewhere else. So you've got this situation where You never know when it's just going to disappear and then pop up again somewhere else.
You're trying to give me a heart attack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the intention.
And I mean, to the extent we were speaking about how this is near distant future, Tau Ceti F and possible habitable zone planet. Does the entire story take place besides what we saw a little bit of the intro? Does the entire story take place on Tau Ceti F in the spaceship?
So yeah, the story, not all of it. There's flashbacks to Earth and stuff like that. I won't give any big spoilers, but it's about a crew who are on board, basically a colony ship, who are trying to figure out if this planet is a good place for the human race to move to. So a lot of it is set on board the Cassiopeia, which is our ship, which is a massive ship. So there's a load of space around there, but then it ends up on the planet itself. So we've also got the planet Tau Ceti F that you can explore. But like I say, there's flashbacks and stuff like that. So.
Now, I mean, the little bit we saw had a wonderful voice-acted segment featuring Lashana Lynch. I'm sure if it's in here, we could talk about that, right? Yeah, and I mean, it was beautiful, well acted. I mean, everything I would expect it to be. I would assume we only got to see a little piece of the story, but if we went so far as to have that, there's probably a lot of that as far as interstitials and or their performances within the action.
Yeah, we make cinematic games, and this is a cinematic narrative. So we think of this one a little bit like a limited TV show where it's set around episodes. So each episode is about the same length as a TV show episode. And yeah, we were so lucky to get Lashana Lynch, but we've got a big cast of characters, and we kind of pride ourselves on our cinematic storytelling, our writing, the twists and turns of the stories. So yeah, there's a lot of narrative in there and a lot of choices that you'll make that will cause that narrative to go in different ways. So we in this game, we have this new system, so on one side we've kind of gone, here's real-time threats. We're really building up the kind of on-the-sticks gameplay. We're also building up the narrative gameplay, and we have this system called Turning Points, which allows you to view all of the game's branches as a kind of map. And as you play through the game, you'll see the path that you've taken. And at any point, you can go, I want to go back to that bit there, jump to that node. What would happen if I did that other thing? And then you'll go down a different branch.
At any time?
At any time, yeah. So it's kind of, it really, our games are full of different alternate branches, and we really wanted to show players that, to kind of go, hey, there's stuff over here that you can go to now if you want to have a look at. At the same time, by the same token, we know that there's a bunch of players out there that like to live or die by their decisions, and our games are kind of unique in that if one of your characters dies, it doesn't go back to a checkpoint, it just carries on going with that character dead. And so if you want to play the game in a sort of hardcore mode, we have a survival mode that you can play it in, which turns off the ability to rewind. So you can still see that branch, you can still see, there's content all over the place, but you can't go back in that. But
that rewind isn't like a story mechanic like Life is Strange, where it's like the character can rewind time. You can just do it to see.
Exactly, yeah. You can just literally go, if you make a decision and you're like, I wish I didn't do that, or I'm just interested in what would have happened on the other branch, you can now just jump there. Like we always allowed, you could replay it, you could jump to an episode, but this is really going right down to the major decisions in the game and being able to just jump around as you see fit.
Amazing. And I mean, that would be me, because I'm like OCD like that. I would be like, curses, that was wrong, I want to clean it. Like there's some like sense of me that I want it to be clean.
Absolutely. No, I think there's a kind of collection aspect to that, or a sort of exploration aspect as well, in that on that map it also shows you first off, all of the different nodes that you haven't been to have got padlocks on them showing that they're locked off, so there's a kind of tick them all off kind of side of it. But also it shows you, there are secrets here that you might not have found, so there's parts of the game's narrative that you missed that you can jump to catch up on.
You described it as being like episodic, and TV episodes roughly are usually 43 minutes or 22 minutes. And how many episodes are we looking at in terms of length, in terms of...
We're looking at 8 episodes in that, so... and then, so it's actually, it's about the same kind of duration as our previous Dark Pictures games. And as for our previous ones, with the branching, that playtime extends, and the turning points now let you easily see the rest of it. So we're really encouraging players to go back and try different options.
And I would take it staggered, not all 8 release day, probably over a period of a couple months.
Sorry?
The 8 episodes, I imagine.
No. We it all comes. The game comes with all 8 episodes. It's not an episodic release.
Okay.
We have a single title comes out with all of that in it. What we kind of wanted to do with the episodes was it's breaking it down for the player. Yeah, it's kind of going, I've got a couple of hours free.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to get a couple of episodes in, and you know that you're going to get a contained experience there. Just like a TV show, it's going to end on a cliffhanger. It's going to have a build-up. You're going to get that kind of solid experience. So it helps you manage your time a little bit.
And I mean, the last thing I'll ask you, because this looks beautiful, and I mean, I don't want to genreify this too much, but I love games that are on the borderline of interactive story, right? Like, it doesn't bother me at all. Like, some people don't think of them as games. To me, they're as game as anything is game, and I love great stories, right? So the thing that comes to mind, and it's like, it didn't hit me initially, and I asked this for a very specific reason, because I'm a little bit of a squeamish person. I don't do well with body horror, right? The Thing, as you mentioned, scares me. I'm not great with crazy, grotesque body horror. But for a person like me that's a little on the squeamish side, I'll give you a comparative point. I'm sure you're familiar with like Dead Space and Dead Space Extraction. Now that game is super you're alone, and it just gets horrible the whole way through. Is it on that level? Does it get worse than that? Like, how bad are we talking in terms of how it gets bad?
It's pretty bad. We have some so the kind of, like I said, there's this body horror aspect, which we were inspired very much by John Carpenter's The Thing. So yeah, there's some pretty horrible stuff you'll see in there. The creatures that you saw in the demo that you played and the stuff that we've shown in our trailers previously aren't everything that you see in the game. So it gets bigger. So yeah, there's more to see, and it does get pretty dark. I mean, I think if you play the ending where everybody dies, you might
Spoilers.
You might be feeling a little bit sad after that.
I can handle that, believe it or not. So, and forgive me if this has been reported and I'm forgetting, I'm spacing, but do we have a release window or release date yet?
Yeah, it's October 2nd.
Beautiful. We look forward to playing it in full. Will, thank you for your time.
Yeah, no, thank you. Cheers.
Thank you, sir. It was awesome.